You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the blessing is in your older age, man. Yo, the 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 older you get, your older age is meant to be better than your younger age. Your older years is meant to be better than your younger years. Uh so we gonna talk about that, the blessing in older age. This is out of context, but like in John chapter 2, they had the regular wine at first, and then Jesus turned the water into wine. And that was better than the regular wine. They say you done brought out the best at the end. You saved the best for last. So, that's a principle. It could be like that with your life. You know what I'm saying? Your older years can be better than your younger years. And I believe that your older years are supposed to be better than your younger years. Because in your younger years, you doing so much learning. It's not about, it's wisdom. Like, even if it come to God, you gonna know a whole lot more about, you gonna have a better understanding of God as you get older than when you was younger. You know what I mean? You learn what to do, what not to do. You learn how to move, what works, what don't work, what's the best way to live your life. And then you have so many experiences that you learn from. Like, oh yeah, I've been in this type of situation before. I'm not gonna let that happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man, when you got that kind of wisdom, you ain't making the same mistakes over and over again. It's like, okay, I done learned. Nah, this not how we gonna do things. Like, and then once you start walking in wisdom, because everything don't come overnight. So you start, and it goes by areas, because you could be walking in wisdom in one area, but another area of life you're not walking in wisdom. It really come down to wisdom too. Wisdom a lot of times comes with age. It comes with experience. You know what I'm saying? And after you begin to walk in wisdom, the longer you walk in wisdom, the more blessings going to accumulate. The more blessings going to accumulate when you've been walking. The longer amount of time that you've been walking in wisdom, the more blessings going to accumulate. Because wisdom speak for itself. When you behaving yourself wisely, when you living a wise lifestyle, and that don't mean that you never make mistakes, but for the most part, you know what I'm saying, you live in a wise type of life, and wisdom is a blessing, and blessings start to multiply and accumulate and add up, and blessings start overtaking you. Like it almost become like it's automatic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, like, this how the kid got the feeling, man. I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what I wrote down. Yeah, Deuteronomy 8. Let's go to Deuteronomy 8. Cause like this is like a principle, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times, you gotta go through the rain for you get to the sunshine. You gotta go through the storm for you get to the sunshine. A lot of time you gotta go to war before you can have peace. Sometimes you gotta go through the wilderness before you get to the promised land. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not meant for you to, childhood is not meant for suffering, but just the nature of a child, you got so much to learn. So you're going to have suffering. You're going to have chastisement, making wrong moves, making wrong decisions, and having to deal with certain consequences. That's just a part of being young. You know what I mean? But when you get older and your wisdom get developed, it's different, bro. I'm not, because you still go through stuff. And another thing, when you go through stuff, you more trained to handle storms and endurance. And you done went through so much when you was young. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I had serious attacks, mental, emotional, just the lifestyle. I had ways. I was a leader in some ways, but then in some, like when it came to getting money, I was a leader. But when it came to I'm trying to think. I know when I was younger, I was looking for love. You know what I'm saying? Like through the street life, which really definitely ain't the right decision. But there is love in the streets. Don't get me wrong, but it's more circumstantial. Your homies gonna ride for you when y'all all together. But if somebody go to the pen or some dudes ain't finna be writing you, putting money on your books like your immediate family gonna ride for you. Your homies in the streets ain't gonna ride for you like your immediate family gonna ride for you. Your immediate family gonna ride for you no matter where you at. You could be in California, New York, you could be in prison. Your immediate family gonna be the one to ride for you. Your homeboys, they not gonna be doing all that much for you. But then again, you might meet people in jail that's willing to ride for you, you know what I'm saying, dealing with situations in there. So you know what I mean? There is love in the streets, but you have to get your love from God first, and then your loved ones, and then the streets. You know what I'm saying? You don't turn your back on your blood for love in the streets. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. When you young, you don't know that though. You stressing your mama out. You know what I'm saying? Because you want that love in the streets, but you taking for granted, you know what I'm saying, the blood love, you know what I'm saying, that actually come from uh your real loved ones, your real parents, your real family. You neglecting that love, chasing the love in the streets, and you gotta put in some work for that if you want that utmost love and respect. So it's like, so when I was young, I was a leader in some ways, but in other ways I was a follower. But I grew out of that. You know what I mean? Uh you have to know what's for you and what ain't for you, and you have to look at the consequences of, if I get in this lifestyle and I'm really active in this lifestyle, where is this gonna lead me? Not just the moment, not just the today, but you know what I'm saying, what kind of future am I looking at if I commit to this type of lifestyle, doing this kind of stuff on a regular basis? Like, what's my end result gonna be? You know what I mean? You don't do that when you're not thinking like that when you're young though. Well, if it feels good, if it feels right, if that's what everybody else doing and it don't seem so bad for them. But when you commit to the wrong lifestyle, people get snatched away one by one. And then it's like, dang, this don't, I might need to change up my, you know what I'm saying? This don't seem like, as far as the long term, this don't seem like it's the way to go. You know what I mean? Because in the short term, we having fun, but in the long term, it ain't looking good. You know what I mean? So stuff like that, man. But it's kind of a principle though in the word of God though, man. The blessing in your older years, the blessing in your latter end. And I use this scripture a lot. But I'm gonna start with Deuteronomy 8:15. He talking to the children of Israel, who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint. So they were suffering. The things that they needed was not there, but God came through for them in miraculous ways. Who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee, to do thee good at thy latter end. So he's saying, even though God might have you going through some suffering, it's his purpose to bless you in your latter end. Joseph had to go through a lot in his youth. He was only like 17 when his brothers sold him into slavery and all that. But in his latter end, once he got past all that, he was blessed. You know what I mean? And I feel like my life is kind of like that. I didn't really go through no extreme suffering, but I went through a good amount of suffering. And the realest suffering I went through was mental. it had to do with with heavy anxiety. You know what I'm saying? That was probably the realest suffering I went through. But it wasn't so intense, but it was day after day, day after day. You know what I mean? Having that anxiety. I say a good 6 years, but it was more than that. It was off and on. Depression was like off and on. I never been depressed for no long period of time, but I feel like it was like a spirit that used to come on me, and I might have that heaviness on me for like a few days at the most, but I would always shake it off. I knew how. I was learning how to fight by then. But even knowing how to fight and rebuke the devil and all that, I still had terrible anxiety. And I say for a good 6 years. It started coming on me when I was about 18. But I know I dealt with anxiety like pretty much on an everyday basis from the time I was 20 to like 26. But it was more like social anxiety. It really something that God used to kind of separate me and have me just off to myself seeking God. You know what I mean? But that was the realest suffering. You know what I mean? That was the realest suffering for me though, that anxiety, man. And but I went through a transformation, you know, when I came out of that, like I was a man of God. But actually when I came out of that, I actually started getting back into the world. But I had a relationship with Jesus though that couldn't be shaken. You know, I had so much depth in God. I still had a lot to learn, but I had so much depth and real relationship with Christ, it couldn't be shaken. You know what I'm saying? Even though some of my behavior, I went back into the world though. But but anyway, see, God will allow you to suffer, but that's not his total plan for you. You suffer for a season, then you come out blessed. Huh? Psalm 66:12, man. Hey, it's just coming to me, man. We just gonna have fun with it. But I want to make sure I get across what God want me to get across, though. It's a lot of scriptures about suffering and then coming out into a better place. And different people suffer in different ways. Because mine's is kind of unique. I done heard other people talk about it, but they didn't have the same situation I had. You know what I mean? But Psalm 66:12, thou hast caused men to ride over our heads. That sound like oppression or persecution. We went through fire and through water. That's suffering. But thou broughtest us out into a wealthy place, into a blessed place. And then 1 Peter 5:10, after you suffered a while. Yeah, after that, then he will strengthen, establish, settle. It said he'll make you perfect, complete, establish, strengthen, settle you. Yeah. Yeah, all that, man. Yeah, I already said John 2:10. Say you done saved the best for last. What else I got? It says wisdom is developed. We've grown in wisdom and grace. That's what come with age. Second Corinthians 2:11 says, we not ignorant of the devil's devices. You know what I'm saying? When you've been in this thing, you know what I'm saying? You've been walking with God. He opened up your eyes to the things of the spirit. You understand warfare. So you ain't going for a whole lot of stuff that you might have went through at one point because you understand the warfare. So it's like, oh no, that's just what the devil want me to do. I'm not finna do that. I know how this thing go. I know how that's gonna hurt me. I know how that's gonna hurt my relationship with God. I know how that's gonna hurt my fellowship with God. I'm not finna go that way. I know what the enemy want me to do, but I'm not finna go that way because now you advance. Now you know. And then Luke 2:52, man, it's talking about aging. But watch this though. It's just like the older you are, sometimes you can be entrusted with some stuff that you couldn't be entrusted with when you was younger, just because of your wisdom level, your maturity level. I'm telling you, man, the older you get, man, it's meant to be a blessing. The only thing about getting older is Once you get up into that, once you hit them 30s and 40s, you got to put more work into your physical body. The body is dying. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, the outward man perish, but the inward man is renewed day by day. So the older you get, your body is breaking down. But even the blessing of God can make that process be slow. You know what I'm saying? But the older you get, you got to put more work into your body if you want it to operate at the same level. You know what I mean? You got to put a little bit more work into your body. The body have a tendency to start breaking down more as you get older. And then another thing, if you blessed to live, everybody ain't blessed to live. People start dropping off the older that you get. You know what I'm saying? People be dropping off. People be checking out. You know what I mean? So if you blessed to live, the older you get, the more people that you lose, the more people that you know of that die as you get older. And then your body, kind of start working against you. You got to put more work into your body to keep it at tip-top condition. You did as you get older. Okay, yeah, Luke 2. Give me Luke 2:52. It says same thing about Samuel. 1 Samuel 2:26. It says, and Jesus increased in wisdom and stature, or it could be translated, there's a translation that says Jesus increased in wisdom and age, which is really both. Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and age and in favor with God and man. So as he increased in wisdom, he also increased in favor. You know what I'm saying? God can do more for you. He can give you more as you grow in wisdom. And a lot of time wisdom grows as you age. Because like I said, you living through more things. You learning more things. You experiencing more things. And it's always a lesson to come from your experience. You know what I mean? I heard somebody say, I don't take losses, I take lessons. You know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff. Everything you go through, good or bad, it's a lesson to be learned. You know what I'm saying? And then a note that I put, the older and the wiser you get, we can handle our blessings more wise and more responsible for life and blessings and trials, knowing how to move. Even when you go through tribulation, like the older you get, the more experience, the more you've been through, you know how to handle it. You know how to keep your peace. And I mean the peace in your heart. Like certain situations will rock you. It'll kind of shake you. But the more you've been through, the more you done walked with God. You know how to keep your faith in God and keep yourself at peace, even though you might be going through a storm, even though you might be going through a tough situation. Like, you know how to keep your faith in God. You know how to keep the peace of God in your heart, and you know how to trust God. You know what I'm saying? You know how to, all right, I'm going to have to ride this thing out. It might not get no better no time soon, but I know what to do. I know how to carry myself. I know how to ride this thing out and maintain a right relationship with God and stay plugged into God, stay connected to the vine while I'm going through this thing. You know what I'm saying? Without tripping, without panicking, without, you know what I'm saying, doing something crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, the older you get, the wiser you get, you're more responsible, because a lot of blessings, you got to be responsible enough to maintain it. Somebody can, I'm going to give you the keys to this house. Okay, but can you maintain the house? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you this car, but can you maintain the car? I'm going to give you this position, but do you know how to, you know what I'm saying, do you know how to operate in that position? And do you know how to do what you need to do to be in that position? See, somebody can throw you a bone, they can throw you a handout, but what you gonna do with it? Do you know what to do with it? Is you gonna waste it, trash it, or is you gonna properly maintain it and let it multiply into something more? You know what I mean? Like, I remember losing a car because of irresponsibility, just thinking everything is a game. And when I had the chance to make the situation right, I'm just blowing it off. You know what I'm saying? I'm blowing it off. Then once the car get taken from me, this was in LA. You know what I'm saying? Then once the car get taken from me, now I'm trying to scramble up the money to pay these parking tickets. And it's in the tow shop, the price going up every day. I end up losing the car. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, I would have, back when I had 3 or 4 parking tickets, I would at least paid one of them mugs down, paid a couple of them mugs off, and I would have been good. But I keep on getting more tickets and ain't paying nothing, and they snatched that mug. You know what I mean? So just stuff like that, man. Um, yeah, you gotta have a measure of responsibility, man. And then balance. That's another thing. See, I went through all these stages. When I first got into God, when I first really fell in love with Jesus and really got on fire for Jesus, I was so on fire though, I ain't want to work. I want to just pray all day, read my word all day, but that's not real life. You know, if God didn't call you to that. Now that's great. Your hunger and your passion, that's great, but you still gotta work. You can't just ain't nobody ain't nobody sponsoring you like you some type of missionary and people gonna make sure your bills paid and you got everything you need and you didn't have no sponsor. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even when my heart was right and I was totally into the Lord, I didn't have balance. So then, see, I've always been good managing money, but I ain't always had money to manage, or I ain't always had enough money to do everything I needed to do. Even though I've always been a good money manager since I was young. That's one of them gifts that kind of come naturally. You know what I mean? Really supernaturally natural. But I've always been a good money manager. But I went through some stages in life where I didn't have no money to manage, or I just didn't have enough to take care of everything that needed to be taken care of. But that wasn't because God wasn't looking out for me. That's because I didn't have balance. I didn't have wisdom, you know what I mean, for my situation. But I got it now, you know. Uh, I used to feel like I just used to love to read the word and love to pray. And but I felt like if I was to work, then this is really taking me away from God. Like it's like this is taking me away from God, but it's not. It's just a different form of worship. You know, the way you do your job is worship to the Lord. You know what I mean? So it's just a different form of worship. But I used to feel like, man, this is taking away from my intimacy. This is taken away from my fellowship with God, you know? And I went through all these stages and phases and unbalanced, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, man. But and as you get older and you grow in wisdom, man, all that stuff start to level out and you begin to move in a righteous way, a wise way. And I ain't saying I don't sin. I'm not saying that I don't still have like some sin issues. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I like to hit the club. I like to drink. I like to smoke weed. I be fornicating. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely still a work in progress. But sometimes even if you sinning or if you doing wrong, there's a more, I ain't gonna say a wise way to sin or a wise way or a right way to do wrong, but there's a more wise way and then there's a more foolish way. You might be fornicating, but be careful about the women that you mess with. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, if you just meeting a woman and you gonna one night her, you might want to wear a condom. If she basically a stranger, y'all basically strangers to each other, then you probably want to wear a condom or something. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like even though you're doing wrong, there's still a wiser way to do it. and a more foolish way to do it. You know what I mean? Uh yeah, just stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just and yeah, and if you gonna hit the club, don't get sloppy drunk. Like just simple stuff like if you out there clubbing and you sloppy drunk, ain't no telling what you finna get into. But if you still in your right mind, then you probably ain't finna get into nothing. You know what I'm saying? You probably ain't finna have no issues. You can have a couple drinks or whatever, but as long as you in your right mind, you probably ain't gonna have no issues. You in that mug being sloppy drunk, ain't no telling. You might catch a DWI or have a wreck by the end of the night or get in some type of conflict or beef that didn't have to happen because you full of that drink. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? You can, you know what I'm saying? Even when it comes to right and wrong or what people think is right and wrong, even if it's wrong, there's still a wiser way and a more foolish way to do things. So when you start operating on the wiser side, that don't guarantee that nothing can't happen to you, but it's a lot less of a chance that bad stuff is going to happen when you operating in wisdom. You still need to be prayed up. You still got to live by faith, you know, because you can do everything right and still something happen. You know what I'm saying? If it's just meant to be, or if you know what I'm saying, you just get picked off by the devil that night and you ain't covered. You know what I'm saying? You don't have God and his forces fighting on your behalf. You know what I'm saying? I try to always be prayed up every day. You know what I mean? Um, But yeah, man, it's just real in the field though, man. When you get older, you operate in a whole nother level of wisdom. And when you start operating in wisdom, you start winning. And you keep winning. See, that's the thing. Once you get to a certain level of wisdom and you continue to operate in wisdom and you growing and you increasing in wisdom, then your blessings and stuff start to follow. Or should I say, like Deuteronomy 28, he said, these blessings gonna overtake you. Like your blessings start catching up with you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to explain, but this is what God gave me a glimpse of. Like when you really get connected with God and you start to walk in wisdom, it just get better and better. Like you still human, so you still gotta go through stuff, but when you go through stuff, it ain't nothing that's gonna overwhelm you. It ain't nothing that you can't handle with the grace and with the help of God. And then some things you see it before it come, so you already be prepared for it. And then it's just like you start operating in that wisdom, man, and your blessings start multiplying, man. They start catching up with you. They start manifesting. And you just know how to handle stuff, man. You know how to handle situations. You know how to handle your blessings, the things that's been put in your hands, put under your authority, entrusted to you. You know how to handle them things and maintain those things and properly handle and maintain and protect them things. Uh, and even trials and tribulation and suffering, you know how to handle that more maturely instead of throwing temper tantrums and fits with God. You know what I mean? You find out how to thank God that it wasn't nothing worse than what it could have been. And then you might have to take a financial loss. I had to spend this much, but thank God that you had the money to spend. Somebody else could have went through the situation. They didn't have the money that they needed to fix that situation. So you might have took a loss, but at least you had it to lose. Somebody else might not have even had it to lose. You know, so they would have been stuck in that situation. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot, man. It's a lot, man. Just, you know how to handle stuff better from the good to the bad. Whether it's a blessing, something that's being entrusted to you, or you get promoted to a certain position or whatever. Like, you know how to handle your authority. You know how to handle your responsibilities. You know how to handle your suffering when it come your way. You know how to trust and lean and depend on God, and remain grateful, and keep a grateful attitude. And you got patience. You know how to endure without doing a bunch of complaining. You know how to trust God and just fall back. And you know how to work together with God. You know how to find out, okay, what's my part in this situation? What I need to do. I'm praying. I'm trusting God. I'm giving it to God. But what's my part? What I need to do? Like, you learn how to work together with God. Like, you learn how to handle your suffering. You know what I mean? And still be thankful and grateful to God, and still keep a strong relationship with him. Like, it just like when you get older, everything get better, because that's your progress. That's your increase. Uh you know how to move. You know how to carry yourself. You know how to carry yourself. You know how to be ready for if something go down. You know how to be ready and be prepared, and you know how to carry yourself, man. You know how to be ready if something go down, but at the same time, you're not looking for nothing. You learn how to carry yourself. Sometimes if you real cocky, you out there looking for something. You know what I'm saying? You out there looking for drama. You know what I'm saying? Because you feel invincible, or you got something to prove, or you want to make a name for yourself. Sometimes when you young, you out there looking for something. Or that alcohol can turn you into another person sometimes. And all of a sudden, now you just looking for smoke. Or you could be on some scary stuff, ducking and hiding, balance. I'm talking about balance. When you get the right balance, though, you know how to carry yourself. You know how to be ready if something was to pop off. But at the same time, you're not looking for nothing. You're not on no disrespectful stuff trying to start nothing. But at the same time, you know that something could go down, and you know how to be ready for it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Balance. You know what I mean? All that come with age. It come with wisdom. You know what I mean? Next topic.